Hello and welcome to the Higher Paradigm YouTube channel and podcast. I am your host, Laura, and I am so freaking excited to be here and to be connecting with you and to build a like-minded community of higher thought, which means to me, how can we begin to operate from love, from compassion, because this is very much the path that I am walking, constantly coming back to, am I operating from love? Am I operating from compassion? And how can I connect into the collective from this place in my heart? And this podcast and YouTube channel is also about questioning everything. So it's about coming back to our hearts, but also coming back to the truth. The truth that we know, that we believe, that feels right for us. The purpose is to bring us together in community to elevate our way of perceiving and elevate our way of thinking about everything and our spiritual relationship to self and to our higher power, our creator, God, great spirit, our wise and healed ancestors. These are all very important relationships that we are being called to deepen into and cultivate within ourselves and connect with one another around. Everything that we are going to question and everything we're going to talk about is about opening and expanding our minds to see things through a different perspective, to see things through a different lens, to reframe the way that we're perceiving our reality. It is really interesting that two people can watch the same thing and take away from it two very different perspectives. My mission is for us to appreciate that and value that and have love for that in one another and not have that be the reason we pull away from each other and there's this division. It ultimately comes down to spirituality, in my opinion, because when we can come back to that place of love within ourselves and operate from this place of love and compassion, then we can build a spiritual relationship with others. And yeah, we are waking up as a collective, and a lot of us who are in this role to guide and participate in the awakening of the collective. So I feel like that is the role that I am here to play within this platform and in this little corner of the world. So if you're on board for this, I welcome you. We are going to talk about a wide range of topics that are meaningful to me, but I feel are very important for all of us to have a little understanding, learn a little bit more about all different aspects of humanity, all different aspects of living in this country, in the United States, in the world. It really is important to know a little bit about what's truly going on and have a perspective. You can feel into what feels right and good for you and what does not make sense and what doesn't align. This is about our culture. I will be talking about spiritually and what it is that you believe in spiritually, what you connect with, what resonates for you physically within your own body and mentally, emotionally with your inner world and the aspects of yourself that need tending to, that need healing, physically too, aspects of ourselves that need tending to and healing, noticing and recognizing problematic industries within our society and why they're problematic, which I am referring to what comes up right away is our food system, our big pharma, and yeah, these systems that are keeping us sick and unwell. And it's not just physically and it's not just physical diagnoses, it's mental, emotional too, and how that contributes to our unwellness. So there's, like I said, a wide range of things I will be diving into throughout this podcast, YouTube experience. I'm really excited about it. Let me just share what I have actually bullet pointed. We will get into, as I just mentioned, American culture, healthcare, big pharma, things like hormone health, energy hygiene, emotional energy healing, talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, talking about feminism and toxic feminism, conscious parenting, and being a cycle breaker in this current reality we live in, which is huge to me, obviously. Not obviously, you don't know me yet, which is huge to me. Homesteading, which is something I feel so passionately about and definitely want to spread more knowledge and experience about that. Ancestral wisdom, spiritual insights, battling addiction. I will get into that in a second. Childhood trauma, PTSD, mental, emotional unwellness. What else? Yeah, there's so much more. There's so much more. So, yeah, this is going to be a wild ride, a beautiful journey that I have been divinely guided and inspired to do. A little backstory. First of all, again, I am Laura, and I am a wife of a uber supportive and loving husband. I am so fortunate and blessed for him and my two beautiful daughters who have been the inspiration, been a catalyst for a deeply transformative and ridiculously unbelievable, magical, miraculous healing journey that I've been on for the last 5 years. Yeah, 5 years ago, I had a vision, and I just want to celebrate this for a minute because it has taken 5 years to get to this point. Okay. So I want to share this because if you have an insight, you have a vision, there's something that you want to pursue, right? But every time you try to pursue that thing, it doesn't feel quite right. So you wonder if you should just throw the idea away. But then at the same time, you're thinking, but why did this come through to me? If it's not meant to be, then why did it come through? All I can say is God has plans, and we may make plans, but God has a plan of her own. Okay. And that is so true, especially in my experience. So 5 years ago, probably this month, actually, March 2020, I did have a vision of creating a YouTube channel and speaking candidly on it. But at the time, I was just getting my feet wet in my healing journey. I was just scratching the surface of really deep healing. I was newly sober, and I just quit my 10-year nursing career at the end of 2019. And I had done so much already up to that point. But again, I was just scratching the surface. But I was so inspired to share my story from that point. And again, this is only 3 months into sobriety. And I was going through sobriety at that point because I did not actually quit every substance all at once. I did it my way. So that is definitely something I look forward to sharing more about. But the point is I was getting sober. I just quit a 10-year nursing career that was toxic, and it was really the umbrella covering up, or the blanket covering up, all of the problems and all of the stuff that I was masking and burying with this career, as well as drugs and alcohol. And to get sober, to quit this career and feel at this point already so freaking good. And I couldn't believe it was possible to actually get sober and to feel good and to start doing the surface level healing work, which started really with just me intuitively, oh, maybe I should start journaling on gratitude. That's how it started. And then from there, it just grew and snowballed and snowballed. And then things just started aligning. I started aligning myself with these amazing and incredible people who were a part of my story, my journey, all the things. But anyway, going back to March 2020, had this vision of talking on YouTube. And when I had this vision, it sent a wave, a jolt, a lightning bolt of energy surging through me, life force energy. It was just this, what am I trying to say? This confirmation or this touch inside of me from God. And I just knew that something incredible was about to go down, was about to. Now, again, this is 5 years ago. And when this happened, I ran down the stairs. It was the surge of energy that sent me just propelling down the stairs to tell my husband and my sister, oh my gosh, I just had this vision that I'm going to talk on YouTube and it's going to be amazing. And oh my gosh, and I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, it's got to happen now, right? This has got to be right now. So what am I going to do? So I started journaling, actually, all of these different ideas of things I could talk about. But they were great ideas, but there was only so much conversation or information that I could share about these ideas, because these ideas were actually the things that for the, following the next 5 years that I would actually be diving into within myself, my healing work, and connecting with other like-minded people, getting really clear on a lot of things. So it's really interesting. I knew that something was huge. I thought it had to happen right then. I tried to make it happen right then, but it just wasn't time. And it didn't end up happening. And then fast forward a couple years, and I did try to initiate or put together or create this YouTube channel talking about inner child work, but it flopped. My heart wasn't fully in it. I still had a lot of my own inner work to do. Up to that point, I had done so much trauma healing, inner child healing, but I hadn't gotten to these really deep layers inside that really, when I did get to it, busted. It was the flame that ignited that ignited the fire that burned down the foundations of my reality, which happened in 2023. So there was a lot of things that I had to work through and heal, and people I had to work with. And of course, as I'm going into my healing work, I'm feeling really passionate about it. And I am just certain that this is a part of what my purpose is on this planet. And it is to guide and support others through their deep healing journey. And this is what I was made for. And I know that to be true because I have the courage to dive in head first, even when I'm really effing scared. And I know that I have that courage because this is how I gain the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, and the intelligence to hold the space for others. And this is just something that I know intuitively and at a soul level. And every time I connect with God and I channel this information, it's very evident that I came to this planet to deeply heal my wounding, to bring my lineage on a whole new timeline and do a lot of cycle breaking and guide others through their deep and meaningful and transformative healing journey as well. But I also, through this experience the last 5 years, this YouTube channel and podcast came up again and again, but it never felt quite right until January of this year. And there was just all of this evidence that it was time, that I am in a place inside myself, in my life. I have all of this knowledge, wisdom, and experience from 5 years of deeply healing, along with training and studying the nervous system, ancestral work, inner child work, somatic work, all these different energy work, all these different areas, probably more I'm not even mentioning, but hormone, your physical body, root cause healing, all these different things, right? And in the latter part of the last 5 years, I finally felt comfortable also paying attention to what's going on in our government and politically and socioeconomically. And I deep dived at the end of last year. Of course, that makes sense because we had a new president come into office and there was just all these big changes that were being made, but also just really being able to hold the space inside of myself for the things that I was curious about within our government. I've always known that there was like elites and that there was powers that be that were running the show. But I had so much of my own healing to do and to build safety inside myself first before I could extend these layers of truth that I wanted to uncover out externally. So it's interesting how that happens. First, you were conditioned to believe that the truth and the safety and all these things are outside of us. But then when you actually start doing the inner work, you realize that the truth is inside and the safety you have to build is from within. And then when you start doing that, you separate yourself from what's going on outside. Anyway, I could go on and on. But my point is now I'm in a place and I have these really incredible conversations with my friends and soul sisters and like-minded women and people, my husband. I have these really incredible conversations and we don't always agree. And I am in a place now where that is okay. It feels safe. And I feel this level of confidence and conviction in my beliefs and what I know to be true. And I mean that about God. I have channeled a lot of beautiful, significant, profound messages from the divine, whether it's God or my ancestors. And I have a lot of values and perspective that that I feel called to share, that God is pushing me to share for a reason. And I know it's got to be because there are more of us out there that need to feel that connection and know that we're not alone in the way that we experience the world or the way that we perceive our reality. And also, a lot of us do question things or are curious. And my hope is that this podcast, this YouTube channel, helps to plant seeds and just offer you a depthful, meaningful perspective, because that is me. I am very depthful. I am very intuitive and everything is very meaningful to me. And so that is where we're going to go in all the conversations that we have within this space. So what I want to ask of you is keep an open mind, but also to take what resonates and leave behind the rest. I don't expect all of my viewers, all of my listeners to agree wholeheartedly with me or to agree with every perspective that I have or anything that I have to say or everything that I have to say. But I do encourage you to give some thought to all of the topics that we discuss here. And just also keep in mind too, that you're here for a reason, and do not discount or reject that. Even if you feel like a lot of the things don't make sense to you, or they're confusing, or they're stirring up some sort of emotion, I invite you to welcome that in, because that is probably got to do with why you're in this space. It is, I am one to appreciate and deeply value evoking emotion in people, and triggers are our teachers. So I welcome that as well. So if these things are happening for you, that is not a bad thing. I know it can be uncomfortable, and some of the topics we will discuss may make you uncomfortable, or they may make you mad or sad or happy and joyful and laugh. It really could be anything, and just welcome it all when you listen, when you experience this podcast, this YouTube channel. So, yeah, I am a truth seeker, and therefore, a lot of what I share is to get to the truth. A lot of what I talk about is to share truths that I have discovered. As an example, I am reading 4 different books right now about getting to the truth of God and getting to the truth of creation and of Jesus. And it's not because I'm Christian, though. I don't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself spiritually curious and deepening in relationship with the Creator and with various, what do you call it? Ascending masters and all of my ancestors, whether it be wise and healed or the unwell and unhealed who need healing. I am curious. I want to know more. I'm just so hungry to deepen in relationship to the truth and to the core essence of everything. So I am reading a lot of different books right now. I am reading the Bible. I am reading the Essene Gospel of Peace. I am reading the Gnostic Gospel. So that's just a few. And I'm reading Setting God Free. So these are, and I'm reading alongside that a book called Chaos, which is about our corrupt our corrupt government and the CIA, and how Charles Manson was a informant in all of the, it's crazy. It's really freaking crazy. And I'm sure I will dive into that in one of the episodes. But yeah, the bottom line is I am just a truth seeker. And that is the biggest piece, alongside walking this path of love, the biggest piece of my mission. Another mission that has been coming through more and more from God is to guide myself and others into not just the path of love, but creating heaven on earth. And that is in mind, body, and spirit, because what I believe to be true is that heaven is not, God lives in the divine realm, but we can create heaven on earth. We can live in hell as well. We see it. We experience that. We watch it. We witness it. We have lived in hell, right? If we're living in suffering and we're operating from suffering and we're perceiving everything is really hard or it's just painful and there's so much suffering and we live in fear, that is hell, right? And so what I hope to bring into the light is how there's so much beauty, even in the darkness, even in those shadowy places, even in hell, like being in hell. It's not about staying there. It's not about staying stuck. It's about using that space and being in that space purposefully, having it teach you something, having it illuminate what is actually true for you and what the true essence of your being is here to do, how you're here to live, and let that be the catalyst for change in your life and transformation so that you can operate from this frequency of gratitude. And when we are operating from gratitude, we can perceive our beautiful world as such. Everything is made by source. Everything is divine, and Mother Earth is here for us. And when we walk our bare feet on the earth, what are we connecting with? And when we get to breathe fresh air, what does that fill our lungs with? And really connecting into our body and feeling safety within, just knowing that we are always divinely guided and supported, but also that we have our own backs. I will leave that there. I could go on and on. I'm looking for the truth outside the mainstream. Therefore, that is the lens through which I will be sharing my perspective and my beliefs. The bottom line is unity, is connection, not hate. Fear is the enemy. Fear is not of God. Fear is not of the divine. It's not what we were intended to live in when we entered into this world in our bodies. Okay? So let's respect each other, even when we're miles apart. Let's try to find our way back to love. Let's try to find our way back to the truth. And let's try to appreciate our differences rather than hate on each other. That's what this space is all about. We need to have an inside out revolution. Forget what you're seeing on the news. Forget what anybody is telling you shouldn't be doing. Forget what you've learned all of your life as the way of living. We need to fix ourselves, our communities. We need to start working from the inside out. We need to start coming back to our sovereignty. We need to start building trust from within. We need to start tuning into our bodies and the messages that it is sending us. We need to start rediscovering what we actually believe to be true rather than continuing to perpetuate narratives that aren't in alignment with our actual values. And how do we do that? We have discussions like this, and then we go inward and we do the work that we need to do to liberate the truth inside of us. Lastly, I'll share where I stand spiritually around the topic of God. I believe that there is one creator. I believe that this creator is an interwoven energy of feminine and masculine. I do not believe in everything that is within the Bible. I am reading the Bible alongside God and listening when I question it. I tune in and do my best to allow myself to receive the answers. So I am just on a mission spiritually to channel through me what God is saying and to pour that message out of me so that we can bring more of us together on this path of love. That is the purpose of anything and everything that I share spiritually, is to channel truth and lead us all on this path of love. So I hope that it resonated with you. I hope that you feel seen in some way. Oh my gosh, I'm not the only one who has a nuanced perspective on this or that. And that you are willing, if you don't agree with me on some of the things that I said or all of the things that I said, that somehow you are willing to just be curious about it and maybe do some of your own investigative work around it, or tune into yourself around it and get what you believe from it. That is the end of episode 1. I am so excited. We did it. And we're just getting started. And this is going to be such a beautiful journey. I cannot wait to continue on with you. We will have some incredible guests on here and there. I am still figuring that aspect out, of course, but I already know some beautiful people I want to speak to and have on this YouTube channel podcast. And yeah, if you appreciate and value this episode, this perspective, this channel. I invite you to hit the like button, to subscribe to this channel so you can stay in the know for when the next episodes will be coming out. And if you are listening on podcast, Spotify, or Apple, I invite you to start following me. And if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram at Sacred Healing with _ Laura, Laura. I am on Facebook. Sacred Healing with Laura is my business page. My personal page, which I share more of these points of views around politics and things like that. My personal page is Laura Potosniak. I would love to connect with you on social media, or you can connect with me also on my website, which is pretty much right now just sharing what it is that I do, what offers I have to serve you. And I will leave that link in the show notes below. So thank you so much for being here. If you made it all the way to the end, I'm so grateful and I'm so excited. And I'll see you in the next episode. Many blessings and much love to you.